The sun was setting behind the dusty hills of the colony world Varen. The sky turned a soft orange, and a cool breeze swept through the narrow streets of the small settlement called Gorin's Reach. People were finishing their daily work and heading home. The air smelled of burnt wood and fresh metal from the small workshops scattered around. Rian wiped sweat from his brow as he climbed over a pile of scrap metal. He had spent the day scavenging for useful parts from old machines and broken ships. Life in Gorin's Reach was hard, but Rian was used to it. He knew how to find what others missed and how to make it work again. His hands were rough and strong, and his eyes always sharp for a new chance. Rian's world was small, but he dreamed of something bigger. He often heard stories of the Rylan clan, the proud warriors who lived in the nearby mountains. They were known for their strength, their honor, and their ancient traditions. But the Rylan did not mix with the simple folk of Gorin's Reach. The clans kept their distance, and most people said it was best to stay away. That evening, as Rian walked toward the market square, he heard loud voices coming from the edge of town. Curious, he moved closer, hiding behind a crate. He saw a group of Rylan warriors, their faces painted with blue stripes, standing around a small crowd. At the center was a young woman with fierce eyes and a long blade resting against her shoulder. Her name was Kayla. Kayla was the daughter of the Rylan chief, and she was training to become one of the clan's finest fighters. She wore armor made from the dark, glossy scales of mountain beasts and carried the clan's sacred blade, a weapon passed down through generations. It was said that the blade held the spirit of the clan and could only be wielded by those with great honor. Rian watched as Kayla spoke with a calm but strong voice. She warned the crowd not to cross into the Rylan's territory or steal from their lands. The people listened quietly, but Rian noticed some of them were angry. The tension was clear. Suddenly, one man stepped forward. He was loud and rude, mocking Kayla and challenging her authority. The situation quickly grew tense. Kayla raised her blade, not to attack, but to show she was serious. Before anyone could stop him, the man lunged at Kayla. She moved quickly, blocking his strike with the flat of her blade. The crowd gasped. Rian felt his heart beat faster. Without thinking, Rian jumped forward. He grabbed a metal rod and swung it at the man to protect Kayla. The man stumbled back, surprised. But then more men from the crowd rushed in, and chaos broke out. Rian found himself in the middle of a fight. Kayla shouted orders, her voice cutting through the noise. She moved with skill and grace, defending herself and others. Rian fought beside her, using the rod to keep attackers away. In the confusion, Kayla dropped her sacred blade. It landed near Rian's feet, gleaming in the fading light. Instinctively, Rian picked it up. The moment he held the blade, a strange feeling washed over him. It was heavy, but not just in weight. It felt alive, as if it was waiting for him. Rian glanced at Kayla, who was fighting nearby. Hold this, she called out, struggling with an attacker. Without hesitation, Rian stepped forward and raised the clan blade. The crowd fell silent for a moment. Rian swung the blade to block a strike aimed at Kayla. The blade moved smoothly in his hands, almost as if it knew what to do. He fought fiercely, protecting Kayla and pushing back the attackers. When the fight ended, the crowd slowly backed away, leaving Rian and Kayla standing together. Both were breathing hard. Kayla looked at the blade in Rian's hands, then at Rian himself. Her eyes were full of surprise. You fought with the Rylan blade, she said quietly. Rian nodded, still holding the weapon. I didn't know. I just wanted to help. Kayla's expression changed from surprise to seriousness. The blade is not just a weapon. It is part of our clan's honor. To fight with it means something important. You must come with me. Rian felt a mix of fear and curiosity. He had no idea what was coming next, but he knew his life was about to change. As the last rays of the sun disappeared behind the mountains, Kayla turned and walked toward the Rylan stronghold. Rian followed, clutching the sacred blade tightly. Behind them, the quiet town of Gorin's Reach watched in silence. The Rylan stronghold was built high on a rocky hill, surrounded by tall walls made of stone and metal. Torches burned brightly along the pathways. casting long shadows as Rian and Kayla walked up the steps. The air smelled of burning pine and cold stone. Rian's heart was heavy with questions. He looked around nervously. This place was unlike anything he had ever seen. The buildings were strong and old, filled with history. People in blue-striped armor passed by, their faces serious and proud. Kayla led him into a large hall where the elders of the Ryland clan sat in a circle. They were all older, with weathered faces and sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. At the center of the room stood a large stone altar, and resting on it was the sacred Ryland blade now in Rian's hands. The elders were silent at first. Then the oldest among them, a man with white hair and a deep voice, spoke. "You have fought with the Ryland clan blade," he said slowly, looking at Rian. "Do you understand what that means?" Rian shook his head. "No, I don't. I only wanted to help Kayla and stop the fight." The elder nodded. "The blade is more than a weapon. It is a symbol of our clan's soul and honor. When a stranger wields it in battle, our ancient law binds that person to the clan. It means marriage." Rian blinked in shock. "Marriage? With Kayla's clan?" He looked at her, and she met his eyes with a serious expression. "This law has been kept for hundreds of years," Kayla said quietly. "To fight with the blade is to accept a bond, a sacred promise between clans. It protects our honor and keeps peace." Rian felt the weight of those words pressing down on him. He never imagined that picking up a blade would change his life so much. He thought about his small home, his simple life, and now this ancient law tying him to a clan he barely knew. The elders waited for Rian to respond. Kayla stepped forward. "We must honor the tradition," she said firmly. "Rian, you must come with me to the clan's chambers. There, you will learn more about what this means." Rian swallowed hard but nodded. He could not refuse. The law was clear, and the clans were watching. If he denied the bond, it could lead to more fighting, something no one wanted. Kayla guided Rian through the stronghold's corridors. They passed by training rooms where warriors practiced with swords and shields, their movements precise and disciplined. Rian watched them, feeling out of place, but also curious. Finally, they reached a small room decorated with blue banners and old paintings of Ryland heroes. Kayla sat down and gestured for Rian to join her. "You don't have to be afraid," she said softly. "This tradition may seem strange, but it is also about trust and respect. It's how our people survive." Rian looked down at the blade resting on a table nearby. "I don't know if I'm ready for this. I'm not a warrior like you. I'm just a scavenger." Kayla smiled a little. "That does not matter. What matters is your heart and your will to protect those you care about. That is the true strength." Their conversation was interrupted by a knock on the door. An elder woman entered, carrying a small book filled with clan history. "This book tells the story of the blade and the marriage tradition," she said kindly. "You should read it, Rian. It will help you understand." Rian took the book and sat down. The pages were old but well kept, filled with pictures and stories. He learned how the Ryland clans had fought many battles and how the blade was used to unite clans. In times of danger, marriage through the blade was a way to build alliances and bring peace. As the night grew darker, Rian and Kayla talked more. They shared stories of their lives, Rian about the struggles in Goran's Reach, Kayla about the responsibilities she carried as a Ryland warrior. "I never wanted this," Kayla admitted, "but I believe we can find a way to make it work. Not just because of the law, but because we have to build something stronger than old hatred." Rian nodded slowly. "I want that too, but it's hard to change what people believe." Kayla reached out and placed her hand on his. "Then we start. With us, we learn, we fight, and maybe we teach others." For the first time since the fight, Rian felt a small hope. Maybe the strange bond could be more than just a law. Maybe it could be a new beginning. The next morning, the elders gathered again to discuss Rian's future. They decided he would stay with the Ryland clan for a trial period. During this time, he would train with Kayla and learn their ways. If he proved worthy, the marriage would be honored. If not, the clans would find another solution. Rian accepted the challenge. He knew it would not be easy, but he was ready to face whatever came next. As Kayla and Rian prepared to begin their new journey together, neither of them could guess how much their lives and the future of their clans would change. The morning sun rose over the rocky hills surrounding the Ryland stronghold. Its golden light spilled into the training grounds, where Rian stood awkwardly, watching a group of warriors practicing sword techniques. Their movements were smooth and fast, the result of years of training. Rian clenched his fists, feeling out of place. Kayla approached him, carrying two wooden training swords. She smiled softly. "It's time to begin," she said. "You will train with me. It's the only way to learn." Rian took the sword nervously. "I don't know if I'm ready for this." Kayla shook her head gently. "You don't have to be perfect. You only need to try. We have to show the clans that this bond can work." The two began their first lesson. Kayla moved with grace, teaching Rian the basic stances and strikes. At first, Rian stumbled and lost his balance. The wooden sword felt strange in his hands, so different from the scrap metal rod he used for scavenging. But Kayla was patient, correcting his posture and encouraging him. The other Ryland warriors watched from the sidelines with curious eyes. Some whispered, doubtful that a scavenger could become one of them. Rian felt their judgment, but he tried to ignore it. Days passed, and the training became harder. Kayla pushed Rian to improve, not only in fighting, but also in understanding Ryland customs. She explained the meaning behind each movement, the respect given to the blade, and the honor that came with it. One afternoon, after a long session, Kayla and Rian sat by a fire. The air was cool, and the stars were bright above them. "Why do you fight so well?" Rian asked, surprised by Kayla's skill. Kayla smiled. "Because this clan means everything to me. Every strike, every step is for my family, my people. You must find a reason to." Rian thought about his small home, his friends in Goran's reach. He wanted to protect them, but he felt far from Kayla's world. "Do you think the clans will accept me?" he asked quietly. Kayla looked at him seriously. "Not yet, but if we show them we can work together, maybe they will." Meanwhile, back in Goran's reach, news of Rian's bond spread quickly. Many people were angry or scared. Some said Rian had been tricked. Others worried about what the Ryland clan would demand next. Rian's old friend, Mako, came to visit the stronghold. "You don't have to do this, Rian," Mako warned. "The clans are proud and stubborn. This marriage might only bring trouble." Rian shook his head. "I don't want trouble. I want peace. Maybe this is the way." Mako sighed but did not argue further. Back at the stronghold, the elders continued to watch Rian's progress carefully. They agreed that the trial period was necessary, but some remained doubtful that Rian could become part of their world. One day, during training, Rian faced Kayla in a friendly duel. The fight was challenging. Both moved with focus and care. As the duel ended, Kayla lowered her sword and nodded. "You are improving," she said. "But there is more to being a Ryland than fighting. You must learn to live by our ways," Rian asked. "What do you mean?" Kayla explained that the Ryland clan lived by honor, respect, and loyalty. They helped each other, shared their food, and defended their lands together. To be part of the clan meant more than fighting, it meant being family. Rian listened closely, realizing this was a chance to grow. He wanted to prove he belonged. Over the next weeks, Rian joined Kayla's family for meals and gatherings. The Ryland people were cautious, but began to accept him when they saw his efforts and kindness. Yet, not everyone was happy. Some warriors whispered behind Rian's back, saying he was an outsider who could never understand their ways. Kayla stood by Rian, defending him when needed. "He is trying," she said firmly. "That is what matters." Their bond grew stronger as they learned to trust each other. Kayla showed Rian the meaning of honor beyond the battlefield, and Rian shared his knowledge of the outside world and how to survive its dangers. But the clans still waited. The trial was only the first step. The real test was whether the union could bring peace or cause more conflict. One evening, as they sat watching the stars, Kayla spoke softly. "This is bigger than us. If we fail, the clans might fight again." Rian nodded. "Then we must not fail." They knew the path ahead was difficult, but together, they had a chance to change their worlds forever. Days turned into weeks, and Rian found himself changing in ways he had never expected. The early awkwardness he felt around the Rylan clan was slowly fading. His muscles grew stronger, his reflexes sharper, and his understanding of the clans. Traditions deepened. One morning, Kayla led him to the edge of the training grounds where a small river ran clear and cold. "Today, you learn patience," she said with a slight smile. "Fighting is not only about speed and power. Sometimes it is about waiting, watching, and knowing when to act." Rian frowned. "Patience? That sounds difficult." Kayla nodded. "It is, but it will save your life." They sat quietly by the river bank. Kayla taught Rian how to listen to the sounds around them, to notice small movements in the water and trees, and to calm his mind. At first, Rian struggled to be still. His thoughts raced, and his body itched to move. But gradually, he began to understand. "You are learning more than fighting," Kayla said quietly. "You are learning to be a warrior in mind and spirit." Rian looked at her, surprised by the meaning behind her words. He had thought strength was only about muscles and weapons. But Kayla showed him it was also about control and respect. That evening, the clan gathered for a meal in the great hall. The long tables were filled with food-roasted meats, fresh bread, and vegetables from the mountain gardens. The fire crackled warmly, and laughter filled the air. Rian sat beside Kayla, feeling both nervous and proud. Some clan members still whispered about him, but others nodded in respect when they saw how hard he worked. During the meal, an elder named Varn spoke to Rian. "You have changed since you arrived," he said kindly. "It is not easy to leave behind one life and join another." Rian smiled. "I want to learn. I want to help bring peace." Varn nodded. "That is good. Remember, respect is earned, not given." The words stayed with Rian as the days passed. He trained hard every morning and helped with the clan's daily work, repairing tools, gathering food, and assisting in the stronghold's defense. Kayla was impressed by Rian's progress. She began to see him not just as the stranger who held the clan blade, but as a partner, someone who could stand beside her in battle and in life. One afternoon, a messenger arrived from a neighboring clan. The message was urgent. Strange ships had been seen near the borders, and their intentions were unknown. The Rylan clan prepared for possible danger. Kayla and Rian stood together as the clan leaders discussed plans. Kayla's father, the chief, looked at Rian with a serious expression. "If you are to be part of this clan, you must fight with us," the chief said. "Your strength will be tested soon." Rian felt his heart beat faster. He was ready to face this new challenge. In the days that followed, Rian trained harder than ever. Kayla taught him how to fight with other warriors in the field, how to protect himself and others during surprise attacks. Their teamwork improved, and they began to understand each other better. They learned to trust their partners' moves and support each other without words. One evening, after a long day, Kayla and Rian sat by the fire. Kayla looked at him thoughtfully. "You have changed more than I expected," she said. "I respect your courage." Rian smiled shyly. "I never thought I would earn respect here." "Thank you for believing in me." Kayla's eyes softened. "Respect is the first step. Now, we must face what comes next together." But not everyone was pleased with their growing bond. Some Rylan warriors whispered in secret, doubting Rian's place among them. They worried the clan's traditions were being broken. At the same time, some people in Goran's reach were uneasy. They saw Rian spending more time with the Rylan and wondered if he was forgetting his own people. Rian felt torn between two worlds. He wanted to belong to both, but it was not easy. Kayla noticed his struggles. "You are not alone," she said. "We will face this together." One night, as they stood on the stronghold walls looking at the stars, Rian asked, "Do you think we can really change what the clans believe?" Kayla smiled softly. "Change takes time, but it is possible. We must be patient and strong." Rian took a deep breath, feeling hope for the first time in a long while. He looked at Kayla and saw not just a warrior, but a friend and an ally. The bond formed through the sacred blade was growing into something more, a partnership built on respect and trust. Together, they would face whatever challenges awaited. As the cold wind blew across the mountains, Rian and Kayla prepared for the future, knowing that their journey had only just begun. The morning air was crisp and cold as Rian stood at the edge of the training grounds. Today was no ordinary day. The Ryland clan had gathered for an ancient ceremony called the Test of Fire. This event was held once every few years to prove a warrior's courage, skill, and loyalty to the clan. Rian looked around nervously. The other warriors stood tall and confident, their blue-striped faces set with determination. Many had known each other since childhood. Rian was still the outsider. But today he would have to prove himself. Kayla stood beside him, her expression steady and calm. "You're ready," she said softly. "But remember, this test is not just about strength. It is about heart." Rian nodded. He gripped the sacred Ryland blade tightly, feeling its familiar weight. The blade was no longer just a weapon, it was a symbol of his new life. The clan chief stepped forward. "Today, we test those who seek to join us," he announced. "The test of fire will challenge your mind and body. You must cross the burning trail, face the mountain's challenges, and return with honor." The crowd cheered, their voices echoing through the valley. Rian's heart pounded as he joined the line of warriors. The first part of the test was a narrow path lined with burning embers. The fire's heat was intense, but Rian focused on each step. He remembered Kayla's lessons: patience, control, and respect. When he reached the other side, his feet burned slightly, but he had succeeded. Next came the mountain trail. The path was steep and rocky, with loose stones that threatened to give way. Rian climbed carefully, his muscles burning with effort. Along the way, he faced small challenges, puzzles carved into the rocks, tests of memory and strength. Kayla's voice echoed in his mind. A warrior's mind is as sharp as their blade. After hours of climbing, Rian reached the mountain's peak. The air was thin and cold. From here, he could see the wide lands below, the forests, rivers, and villages. But the final test awaited. The chief appeared beside him. "To complete the test of fire, you must face your fears. Look into the flame and speak the truth of your heart." Rian stepped to the fire pit at the peak. The flames danced, casting shadows on his face. He felt the eyes of the clan watching. He took a deep breath and spoke aloud. "I came here as a stranger, untrained and unsure. But I have learned to respect this clan, its people, and its traditions. I want to be part of something greater, to protect those I care about and build peace between our worlds." A silence fell. Then Kayla stepped forward and placed her hand on Rian's shoulder. "Well spoken," she said softly. The chief nodded slowly. "You have shown courage and honesty. You have passed the test of fire." A cheer rose from the warriors below. Rian felt a rush of pride and relief. That evening, the clan celebrated. Fires burned brightly. Songs were sung and stories told. Rian sat beside Kayla, feeling accepted at last. But amid the joy, Rian knew the real challenge was still ahead, earning the trust of all clans and building a future from the bond that had begun with the blade. After the celebration of the Test of Fire, the Ryland stronghold was filled with a sense of hope. Rian had proven himself, and many in the clan began to accept him as one of their own. But even as the fires burned bright, shadows of doubt quietly crept into hearts and minds. The next morning, Rian awoke early. The sun had just begun to rise, painting the sky with soft pink and orange colors. He looked out over the stronghold's walls and thought about everything that had happened. The sword, the fight, the ancient law, the training, and the test. It all felt like a strange dream. Kayla was waiting for him outside the small room he shared with a few other warriors. She smiled gently. "Are you ready for today?" she asked. Rian nodded. "I want to keep moving forward." They walked together toward the council chamber where the clan elders would discuss the next steps. Their goal was clear: to build peace not only between Ryland and Rian's home, but between all nearby clans. The Sacred Blades bond was just the beginning. Inside the chamber, the elders sat around a wide stone table. Their faces were serious, some hopeful, others skeptical. Rian noticed one elder named Brol, who had often watched him with cold eyes. The chief began. Rian has passed the test of fire. He has shown honor and courage. But some among us still question if he truly belongs. Brill spoke next, his voice low but firm. A scavenger from outside our lands may never understand our ways fully. Our traditions are not simple, and our enemies watch closely. Can we risk trusting him? A murmur spread through the room. Rian felt the weight of those words deep in his chest. He wanted to say something but stayed silent, waiting for Kayla. Kayla stood and spoke clearly. Rian has worked hard. He respects our clan and its traditions. Trust is not given lightly in the Ryland, but he has earned a place here. Another elder nodded. Change is difficult, but perhaps it is necessary. The clans cannot live in endless war. The chief looked at Rian. You will continue your training and live among us. But understand trust must be earned every day, Rian bowed his head. I understand. After the meeting, Kayla led Rian outside. It will take time, she said softly. But you have friends here. Rian smiled. Thank you, Kayla. I don't want to fail. In the days that followed, Rian noticed that not all eyes welcomed him. Some clan members avoided him or spoke in hushed tones. The tension was clear. One afternoon, while gathering firewood near the edge of the forest, Rian was approached by a group of young warriors. Their leader, a tall man named Gred, looked at Rian with challenge in his eyes. You think you belong here just because you passed a test? Gred sneered. The blade shows you, yes, but that doesn't make you Rylan. Rian stood tall but kept calm. I'm here to learn and protect. I respect your clan. Gred laughed. Respect? We'll see how long that lasts. Before the situation could get worse, Kayla appeared. Her eyes flashed with warning. Enough, she said firmly. Rian is with us now. The warriors backed away. But the message was clear. Rian still had many battles to fight, not with swords, but with doubt and fear. That night, Rian sat alone, thinking about his place in this new world. He missed the simple life of Gorans. Reached but knew he could not turn back. Kayla found him and sat beside him. It's not easy being different, she said quietly. But your courage has already changed many hearts. Rian looked at her gratefully. I want to believe that peace is possible. Kayla nodded. It is. But we must be ready to face those who fear change. In the weeks that followed, Rian continued his training and helped with the clan's duties. He and Kayla grew closer, their friendship deepening into something stronger but unspoken. The clans around them watched carefully. Some sent envoys to talk of alliances and peace. Others prepared for war, uncertain of what this new bond might mean. One evening, as Rian and Kayla prepared to rest, a sudden alarm rang through the stronghold. Scouts had spotted a group of unknown ships approaching the coast. The clan hurried to ready their defenses. Rian's heart raced. This could be the moment that tested not only his strength, but the fragile hope of peace they had begun to build. Kayla grabbed his arm. We face this together. Rian nodded. Together. As the sun set, the shadows of doubt grew longer, but so did the light of their courage. The future was uncertain, but Rian and Kayla stood ready to fight for their clan, for their bond, and for a better tomorrow. The early dawn was quiet, but tension filled the air. The Ryland stronghold buzzed with preparation. Scouts had confirmed the approach of strange ships near the coastline. No one knew if they came as friends or foes. Rian stood beside Kayla on the watchtower, his eyes scanning the horizon. The sacred Ryland blade hung at his side, a reminder of the bond that had changed his life. Kayla's voice was steady. This could be the moment that proves our strength and the strength of our bond. Rian nodded. I'm ready. Below, the clan warriors readied their weapons and shields. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and the sounds of armor clinking. Despite the fear, there was determination in their faces. The first ships appeared, as dark shapes against the rising sun. They moved slowly, and their intentions were unclear. The chief raised his hand. Hold your ground. Wait for their move. As the ships came closer, Rian's heart pounded. He thought about how far he had come from a scavenger fighting for survival to a warrior standing for peace. Suddenly, the ship stopped near the shore. From the nearest vessel, a flag was raised, a sign of peace. The clan's tension eased but remained cautious. A small group of envoys came ashore. Their leader, a tall man with a kind face, stepped forward. "We come in peace," he said. "We seek talks and friendship." The chief lowered his weapon but did not relax. "Prove your words." Over the next days, the envoys and clan leaders met. Rian and Kayla watched closely. This was more than a chance for peace, it was a test of trust. The envoys spoke of dangers from distant lands and the need for clans to unite against common threats. The Ryland chief listened carefully. One night, after the talks, Kayla and Rian walked together outside the stronghold walls. "This could change everything," Kayla said. "If the clans come together, we could build a future without war." Rian smiled. "And maybe the bond of the blade will mean more than just marriage. It could mean unity." Kayla took his hand gently. "You have fought well, not just with your sword, but with your heart." Their moment was interrupted by a sudden shout. Scouts reported movement in the forest, not from the envoys, but a hidden group of warriors from a rival clan who did not want peace. The rival warriors attacked swiftly, trying to break the fragile alliance. The Ryland warriors rushed to defend the stronghold. Rian and Kayla fought side by side. Their movements were in perfect harmony, Kayla's speed and skill balanced by Rian's strength and courage. The bond formed by the sacred blade showed in their teamwork. Despite being outnumbered, the clan held the line. Rian felt a surge of pride as the warriors fought not just for their homes, but for the hope of peace. The battle was fierce but brief. The rival clan was pushed back into the forest, leaving behind weapons and fallen soldiers. After the fight, the clan gathered to tend to the wounded and honor the brave. The chief spoke to the warriors. "Today, you fought not just as individuals, but as one. This is the true meaning of our bond." He looked at Rian and Kayla. "You have shown that the old ways can change, that trust and courage can build new paths." Rian felt a deep sense of belonging. The journey had been difficult, but now he understood the power of the sacred blade, the power to unite, protect, and bring hope. Days later, a great feast was held. The clans came together, sharing food, stories, and songs. The old grudges began to fade as new friendships formed. Rian and Kayla stood side by side. Their hands joined. The marriage bond was no longer just a tradition, it was a promise of peace and a future built together. As the stars shone above, Rian looked at Kayla and smiled. "Thank you for the blade. It led me to you and to a new life." Kayla smiled back. "And thank you for fighting not just for me, but for all of us." The night was filled with hope, and the dawn promised a new beginning. Together, they had forged a bond stronger than any blade, a bond that could change the fate of their clans and the world beyond.